Every critique is correct. Let me rebuild this with surgical precision, fixing all 10 weaknesses while keeping the intensity intact. One version of this forecast brings 2 feet of snow, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and power outages that could last for days. And right now, at 5 in the morning, that version is trending more likely than it was yesterday. Good evening. You have roughly 36 hours to decide which version of this story you're living in. Most people will see this coming too late. You won't, because you're here right now in the quiet before any of this begins. So let's use that time correctly. Here is where we stand. 2 separate weather events are already in motion across the country. A third is organizing offshore with rapidly increasing confidence. And behind all of it, an Arctic air mass is preparing to drop temperatures across the entire eastern seaboard faster than most people will believe until they feel it. This morning is calm. That calm has an expiration date. Let's start with what just happened, because it tells you something critical about what comes next. The system that moved through the Ohio Valley and upper Midwest over the last 48 hours was dangerous from its first breath. Before it ever reached snow country, it produced a violent severe weather outbreak across Indiana and surrounding states. Near Bloomington, a large tornado tracked close enough to populated areas that experienced storm chasers went silent. Then that same disturbance pushed north, transformed, and dropped 8 to 12 inches of snow across Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin, and upper Michigan. Nearly double what the models had advertised. Forecasters were behind it the entire time. It outran the guidance. That pattern of overperformance is the first thing you need to carry into the next 72 hours, because the storm now forming offshore was born from the same restless atmosphere. Take a breath here. We'll come back to that coastal threat in a moment, but I want to anchor you geographically first because understanding the shape of this event changes how seriously you take it. Picture the eastern coastline of the United States. Now imagine a hook, starting down near the outer banks of North Carolina, bending northeast, curving up through the mid-Atlantic like a fist closing around the coast. That is the track we are watching. A coastal low is organizing right now off North Carolina. By Sunday morning, it becomes a coherent, defined storm. And as it rides that hook northward, hugging the coast, pulling in ocean moisture, feeding on cold air to its west, it has the potential to intensify at a rate that surprises people. Here is what rapid intensification means in plain language. Every storm has a central pressure. Think of it like the engine speed. When atmospheric conditions align correctly, that engine can accelerate dramatically in a short window. We're talking a pressure drop of roughly 24 millibars in a single day. That's a storm going from concerning to catastrophic in terms of its wind and precipitation output. Meteorologists call the threshold bombogenesis. What it means for you is that a system which looked survivable on Friday can become a different animal entirely by Sunday night. Ensemble model agreement on this developing low has increased in the last 12 hours. The confidence is building. And the trend, this is the part that matters most, the trend has shifted west and north in the last 24 hours. Closer to the cities. Closer to you. Now I want to walk you through the 3 ways this plays out, and then tell you which one I'm watching most carefully. The middle outcome covers the broadest range of current guidance. 4 to 8 inches across Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, and into Boston and Cape Cod. That version is disruptive. Commutes dangerous, flights grounded, roads glazed before the plows can respond. It's the kind of Monday morning that fills emergency rooms with fender benders and sends school districts scrambling before dawn. Real impacts. Manageable but real. The lower-end solution, driven largely by European modeling, keeps the heaviest precipitation axis offshore. Cities like New York and Boston might see 3 to 6 inches, and most of the fury stays over the open Atlantic. That model has earned credibility over years of verification. I won't dismiss it, but right now, with the track trending west and north, it is not where the weight of evidence is pointing. Then there is the high-end version. And this is where I need you to stay with me. 1 to 2 feet across the mid-Atlantic into southern New England. Isolated totals in the elevated terrain of Pennsylvania, the Catskills, and interior New England reaching 24, possibly 30 inches. I want you to think about what that actually looks like, not as a number but as a lived experience. Snow accumulating on rooftops across Brooklyn at 2 in the morning at a rate that structural engineers think about. Emergency response vehicles unable to reach the outer boroughs. A pipe bursting at 4 a.m. in a century-old walk-up in Philadelphia when no plumber on Earth can reach you. That version exists in the current model space. It is not the fringe outcome. It is within the realistic envelope, and the trend over the last day has moved toward it, not away. And now the wind, which is the one element of this event that carries near certainty regardless of which snowfall outcome verifies. 50 to 60 mile-per-hour gusts along coastal New Jersey, Long Island, Delaware, and out to Cape Cod. Here is what that means at street level. If you live in an apartment in Lower Manhattan or along the Jersey Shore, and your power goes out at midnight with wind at 55 miles per hour and temperatures in the mid-20s, your heat stops. Your light stops. Your ability to call for help depends entirely on whether your phone is charged. If snow is falling hard and blowing sideways across every exposed road, first responders are working in near-zero visibility to reach everyone at once. This is why the wind concerns me as much as the accumulation. The grid is under pressure in both scenarios. And that grid, the one I mentioned at the very start of this morning, is what worries me most about the high-end version. Now, and this is intentional, let me step back for one moment because I've been driving hard and I want you to think clearly, not just react. Here is the honest meteorological picture. The middle outcome remains the broadest solution. The track has shifted toward higher impact but has not locked in. Model spread still exists. The European solution is not dead. What I can tell you with strong confidence is this. The trend is going the wrong direction for optimism. The wind threat is solid regardless. And the storm that just moved through this region was underestimated every step of the way by the same guidance we're relying on now. That context is not panic. It's pattern recognition. You have 36 hours. Use them. Across the southeast, quietly and largely under the radar this morning, a low-end severe weather setup is unfolding across Alabama, Georgia, northern Florida, and coastal South Carolina. Brief tornadoes and isolated damaging wind gusts are possible through the weekend. This does not require a major outbreak to cause real harm. Keep the alerts on if you're in those areas. Don't let the northern storm make you feel safe. Behind everything, the cold. Florida ran near 75 degrees this week. People left windows open. Within 48 hours of this storm's passage, an Arctic air mass drops across the eastern half of the country with a speed that feels personal. Hard freeze conditions reach Florida. Temperatures across the Carolinas and Tennessee Valley collapse overnight. If you have older pipes, insulate them now. If you have animals outside, bring them in today. A pipe that bursts at 4 a.m. in 15-degree temperatures is a home insurance claim, a displaced family, and a memory of the morning you had warning and moved too slowly. The pattern doesn't quiet down after this either. An Alberta clipper is tracking toward the Great Lakes and Northeast for early next week. Leaner, faster, but ready to add accumulation on top of whatever gets left behind. Across the Pacific Northwest, relentless atmospheric moisture continues hammering a coastline that is running out of capacity. River gauges are being watched around the clock. There is no calm period visible in the extended forecast for that region. So here is the final picture at 5 in the morning on this Saturday. One version of this weekend is disruptive. One version is dangerous. And one version, the one the trend has been quietly moving toward for the last 24 hours, is historic. The storm doesn't announce which version it has chosen until it's already upon you. The grid doesn't warn you before it fails. The pipe doesn't give you notice before it goes. You're watching this in the quiet, while the streets outside are still. While the sky is still whatever color it is before all of this begins. When the wind starts, remember this was the morning you knew.